Just got done my first flip and I made money. What should I do with it? On this video, I'm going to tell you what you should do with it. I still remember my first flip like it was yesterday. I made $45,000. It was amazing. And I turned around and I wasn't exactly sure what to do. I was tempted to do a couple different things. And here is kind of my story and what I see a lot of other people do. Number one, you're tempted to go buy something nice, take a trip, do a vacation, really kind of take all that money and say, wow, this is money I didn't expect to have. Maybe you have a full-time job right now. I'm going to go spend it. I highly discourage that, okay? I do think that you should celebrate it. You should be really excited that you got this project done, you made money, and you should celebrate it. You should buy yourself something to remember that, or maybe it's buying your spouse something. I remember I was really trying to get my wife involved in my business at that time, and so I kind of bought her something nice. Like we did like a little trip or dinner out to celebrate, and then we did that on every closing for a little while, and it made it special. And she was like, hey, when's your next closing? So that's a little tip for you if you want to get your spouse involved, and they're not, is get them excited about asking you questions about the project. But I would not go buy something massive for yourself, okay? The second one is to pay yourself a big chunk. Kind of similar, but to think of it like, I'm going to pay out myself $10,000. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to take it out of this money that I made to potentially reinvest or diversify back into my business or somewhere else. So I see a lot of flippers do this as they start growing and scaling. They pay themselves big salaries or a lot of money after each project or when they do a deal. The problem that happens there is it really stunts your growth. And if you have the ability to invest it back, maybe you have a full-time job, this is an extra side hustle for you, the ability to invest it back into your business and growth is massive. So for me, when I started this business, I was flying helicopters and airplanes for the Navy. In fact, I was at Patuxent River, Maryland. I was flying helicopters as a test pilot when I flipped my first house. I didn't need the income. For almost 3 years, I didn't pay myself a dime. I just put it all back into growth. So a lot of people ask me, how'd you grow so fast? How'd you go from doing one house a year to 67 to 135 to 187 to 200 houses a year? And other people don't grow that fast. I said I invested it all back in my business. So I wouldn't pay myself a huge chunk of money. The other thing is you might be tempted to get overconfident, to think that you know everything. And this is what happened to me. I thought that I knew a lot after doing my first deal, then my second deal, my third deal. And I got into a lot of trouble buying houses that I shouldn't have been buying. So my story goes like this. I was buying right. I was buying in first and second time home buyers, which I would encourage all of you to continue to do. And then I started moving up. I was in Pensacola and I moved up to these $700,000, $800,000 houses. And I saw bigger dollar signs in profit potential because I was moving up in a class of home. So I was moving up to these luxury homes. It was a huge mistake. I got overconfident. I ended up losing a lot of money on those houses. I never lost money until I went into that area. And I lost $70,000, then I lost $50,000, then I lost $30,000. I said, I am out. I got to change my entire strategy. So I got overconfident. So don't get overconfident, stay humble, but know that your experience has grown and you do have a lot more experience and that gives you the ability to do more. So don't get overconfident. The other thing you might want to be thinking about, and you're probably thinking about it right now, is diversifying into other assets. So should I go into the stock market? Should I go into cryptocurrency? Should I put some of this somewhere else? And while I don't think that's a bad idea, my encouragement and my push is going to be for the final thing that I'm going to talk about and what I think you should absolutely do. But cryptocurrency, stock market, all of these things, they're fine, but I also think they're kind of slow and way more risky than the investment that I think you should make with the money that you made. So I've had people who have flipped houses in my seven-figure flipping community, our mastermind group, and they've started to kind of diversify outside, and it has definitely stunted and slowed their growth. They have had amazing opportunity and trajectory up to that point, and as they started looking at other options and getting distracted, they started putting money elsewhere and time elsewhere. It really started slowing their growth to the point where their business actually started slowing down and regressing. And some have even fallen into financial hardship when they were doing really well. And the reason for that is focus. I think if you want to be a stock investor or you want to be a crypto Bitcoin type investor, then you should focus on that. But real estate is 100% the way to financial freedom as fast as possible with a stable and hard asset, which I love. That's why I push everybody to own real estate, to get in the real estate game, to become a real estate professional, to figure out how to do it. Because it's really important for that. Like you have an actual asset that you can tie to that you know where it is. So for all the money that you're making here, you flip your first house, you've got this profit. There's no better investment to invest back in your business. And so a lot of people ask, well, what about up markets and down markets, right? Does that change my decision? Should I pull money out and sit on the sidelines for a while? I remember a guy about, years ago, there was an election happening. And he said that he's not going to buy houses until the election is done, until he finds out who won. So he was doing really well and growing his business and stopped buying houses because he wasn't sure, depending on what president was going to win, whether he was going to keep making money in that. That does not control how we make money. If it's an up market or down market in real estate, you can find a way to make money. And if you're hanging out here on my channel, I'm going to show you how all the time. So in an up market, you have the opportunity to make money. You just got to kind of shift and adapt the business plan. Same thing in a down market. Now, I would not change this decision based on whether the market is up. I'm talking about the stock market or the housing market, or whether the market was down. I might just shift the way that I run my business. And that's what you should always be doing. You should be investing in yourself. When you invest in stocks, you're investing in someone else's business. You're putting money hoping that their business does well. There's no fraud. They don't go out of business. Like Enron completely crashes, and a company that seemed to be on the surface doing really well goes to zero overnight, and so does your money. And then cryptocurrency is the same thing. You're investing in this other asset class. You're investing in something else, not something that you can help add value to. So what I love about real estate is you get to add the value. You just saw that in the first house that you flipped. You made money because you added value. You found a home that needed to be fixed up, that you could force equity into and force this, like, it's not even appreciation over time. You forced appreciation based on the renovation that you did to the project to add value to it. And you got paid on the back end of that. And you can replicate that at scale as you grow. So my number one tip for you when you say, what should I do with the money that I just made on this house that I flipped, is to invest back in yourself. And there's a couple ways to do that. One is education. One thing you should think about doing is figuring out how to educate yourself. That might be buying a book. That might be going to an event. It might be buying a video course or a training. It might be joining a mastermind. And I would encourage you to do all of those things and definitely push you to grow in that level in whatever makes sense for you at the time. For me, I flipped my first house, then I got into my second one, and I was struggling to figure out how to grow and scale this business. And I joined a mastermind group. I paid $25,000 to help me. And that's when I went from doing one house to doing 67 houses the next year, and 135, then 187, then 200 a year. We've done over 800 houses in the last few years. It's amazing the growth that was possible by getting around people who are doing things at a much bigger scale than me. So invest in yourself. The other thing is invest in your business. There's no better bet that you can make than in you. So investing in yourself and putting that money back into your business to grow it faster. So take it and figure out how you can invest in your education, invest in your business, whether it's hiring someone, it's buying two houses next time instead of one, and really growing and scaling that. So that's what you should do with the money. Check out this next video to plan on what to do next.